I'd like to talk for a moment about the advantage of using remote power supplies. Here I have two drawings of the same speaker run with alternate power supply placement. In the first one I have a 24-volt power supply, then I have 100 feet of wire to a horn, and then after that 100 more feet of wire to a second horn, and then 100 more feet of wire to a third horn, and finally a fourth horn 100 feet from there. All of the current for all of the horns has to flow through the initial segment of wire from the 24-volt power supply. The current for 3 of the horns has to flow through the second segment, and etc. A better scenario would be locating the power supply equal distance from the horns. That's the bottom scenario here. And that way you only have 150 feet of wire to the furthest horn that you're serving from that power supply. So you have less wire resistance because you're using less wire, and there's less current that has to flow through each wire segment because you're not sourcing all of the horns through any particular wire segment. Let's say these were 18 power unit horns, and we'll evaluate both of these scenarios and see what we come up with. Okay. Going into SoundDesign. Option C is where we evaluate self-amplified speakers and the wire run for them. 24-volt power supply will assume that we're willing to lose 4 volts in the wiring so that the voltage at the last speaker would be no less than 20 volts. Okay, so in our first scenario we had 18 power units and it was 100 feet from the power supply. And the second horn was also 18 power units, and it was 100 feet from the second horn. The third was 18 power units, also at 100 feet. And the fourth was 18 power units, also at 100 feet. What the program is telling us here is in order to lose no more than 4 volts, and assuming worst case, assuming that each horn is actually pulling 18 power units, this wire run would require 13 gauge wire. Okay, for the power pair anyway. For the audio pair it could be 24 gauge. But let's press B to back up, and we'll go back to enter speaker number 1. We'll start over. This time we're going to evaluate our second scenario, where we have 2 wire runs that are mirror images of each other, so we only have to evaluate one of them, and the second one will be the same. In this scenario you have an 18 power unit horn, and it's 50 feet from the power supply. And then you have an 18 power unit horn that's 100 feet from there. As you can see in this scenario, you only need 20 gauge wire. So you could save quite a bit of money by properly placing the power supply equal distant from the horns that it's serving. So just keep that in mind when you're designing speaker power runs. Keep the power supplies located as close as practical to the speakers that they're serving.